I would say that CPEC is just one small component out of those 6 corridors that they have announced in the start, which may have some improvements, which may have some new additions with time. Recently, we have seen that Afghanistan also got independence, and then Afghanistan is also being the neighboring country of China and Pakistan is also getting importance. In last episode, I also said that we'll be probably seeing there is a dire chance that we'll see Afghanistan also officially coming in. We cannot blame China. We cannot say that this is because of the CPAC, because of the Chinese investments or the project that they have tried to start with us. These are our internal issues, and it is a Chinese, you can say, philosophy that they say that whatever are your internal problems, you have to solve them yourself. And being a country, being a sovereign state, it is our responsibility to solve these issues. No other country, whether it is China or any other country, can intervene, or they don't have any right to intervene in our internal affairs. There are some problems, issues, or you can say there are some I don't want to use this word for the audience, but again, there are some ways by which corruption is being done in Pakistan in terms of CPAC. But again, it is not an agreement by which we have to do corruption.
Right then, viewers. In this episode of Reality Bites, we pick up from where we left off last time. And we were talking with Dr. Tahir Mumtaz, who is former director of the China Study Center, ComSats University. He's also Senior Research Fellow, Center for Ethnology and Anthropology, Yunnan Normal University, China. Also, he's a researcher with the World Sinology Center, Beijing, and the Beijing Language and Culture University in Beijing, the People's Republic of China. Thank you very much for joining us again, Dr. Tahir Mumtaz.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sami, for sparing time and having me once again.
If we do a very brief recap, Dr. Mumtaz, last time you talked to us about Pak-China friendship, the economic cost and political cost of the Pakistan-China economic corridor. You also talked a bit about whether the CPEC project can be looked at as the Chinese version of imperialism or colonialism, a point which you very vociferously denied, saying that there's no parallels between, let's say, the British version of imperialism or what China is doing right now in Pakistan. So based on your previous talk, I'd like to ask you, how does CPEC compare with other Chinese investments in other countries? How is it unique? How is it different? And how is it the same?
Doctor, it is really grateful that you have recapped the previous episode, and I still say that I deny that imperialism concept, and that is because of the, you can say, the foundations on which the Chinese philosophy is built is like win-win cooperation. One word they are using rigorously whenever they are discussing, whenever they are even in their official documents, they use this strategy or this cooperation mechanism, which says that there is a piece of cake and we all have to share the slices. Someone will get a bigger slice, someone will get a smaller slice, but the concept of sharing is something which Chinese are following. Again, I would say that the recent concept of shared community for a better future or for a better world is something on which they are working. And this is again the focus of the second phase of CPEC as well. So I would say that CPEC is just one small component out of those 6 corridors that they have announced in the start, which may have some improvements, which may have some new additions with time. Recently, we have seen that Afghanistan also got independence, and then Afghanistan is also being the neighboring country of China and Pakistan is also getting importance. In last episode, I also said that we'll be probably seeing there is a dire chance that we'll see Afghanistan also officially coming into CPEC. So CPEC is just one of those 6 corridors, and it is called a flagship project because this is from the point from where China has started this this initiative of Belt and Road, Belt and Road. And if we see now they are moving towards the African side, the European side, again to the Central Asian side. So they are extending, and we are the first of the beneficiaries of this BRI project, and this has gained us a lot of criticism from one part of the world, some appreciation from our neighboring countries, some appreciation from Chinese side also. But again, it is you can call it a pilot of the whole BRI project, and the flagship project is the word which we have commonly seen, we have commonly noticed in this scenario as well.
Hmm. Professor Mumtaz, you keep presenting CPEC as a great boon, as a great economic and political boon for Pakistan. But like most things Pakistani, CPEC has also become very controversial recently. So my next question is a rather important one, and I want to ask you how transparent and accountable the processes surrounding CPEC are in Pakistan, because we know that former Prime Minister Imran Khan hired a retired general at one point, and he was being paid rupees 4 million a month to head the CPEC authority. So hasn't CPEC become another means of accumulating ill-gotten wealth in Pakistan?
I would rather see the brighter side as well. I mean, we quote. I mean, I cannot deny that CPEC authority head and the benefits he was getting, the salary he was getting, and again, right now, if we see CPEC authority is no more. CPEC authority is, though it is in documents, but it is not existent. It is not working. And our planning commission, our government is again planning to revive the CPEC Center of Excellence, rather CPEC Authority. So this is something which again is questionable, but these are our internal problems. We cannot blame China. We cannot say that this is because of the CPEC, because of the Chinese investments or the project that they have tried to start with us. These are our internal issues, and it is a Chinese, you can say, philosophy that they say that whatever are your internal problems, you have to solve them yourself. And being a country, being a sovereign state, it is our responsibility to solve these issues. No other country, whether it is China or any other country, can intervene, or they don't have any right to intervene in our internal affairs. There are some problems, issues, or you can say there are some I don't want to use this word for the audience, but again, there are some ways by which corruption is being done in Pakistan in terms of CPEC. But again, it is not an agreement by which we have to do corruption. It is not in the documentation of CPEC that we have to do this corruption. It is a legal process. It is a legal way. It is a legal framework that we have to follow. On the other side, I would say there are some technological issues. For example, if we talk about these power plant projects, whatever machinery, whatever infrastructure, whatever technology is being used or being utilized by the Chinese companies or the joint ventures working on those projects is not available in Pakistan. We lack that technology, we lack those skills. I have personally visited Dasu power plant, which is the biggest one in this domain, 4,230 megawatt project, and only the diversion tunnel they have made before they'll start constructing that powerhouse is something which maybe is, as per my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong, but we don't have that technology, we don't have that capacity to do such a huge project. So some firms are coming, some joint ventures are seen working on those projects and working on those initiatives, but it's not all corruption. Suki Kanari has started working few days ago, and we have seen the pictures in the media also. So it will definitely benefit the nation also. It is not only that we are saying that it is a way by which negativity was promoted, or wealth accumulation was done in Pakistan only. There are some negative things. We being a sovereign state, we being a country of independent country, it is our responsibility to mend ourselves. And I don't want to blame any specific ministry, any specific officer, any specific authority, but it is a government level which is being blamed by other countries, also being blamed by China also. And we have to take those allegations, we can say, but again, we have to take these issues seriously so that our development, again, I would say right now the situation of Pakistan is the same as it was in 90s as compared to China. This is what the Chinese citizens, whenever they are visiting Pakistan, they use this word. They say, "Jiushi and the Zhongguo." Jiushi and the Zhongguo means 90s of China. So if it is 90s, it means we are 4 decades behind China. So we have to understand that we are at a learning phase. We have got an opportunity. We have got the good you can say friendship. We can say friendship, but again, it is again a win-win cooperation strategy in which we have got the chance to work. We have got the chance to improve ourselves. We have got the chance to improve our lives, the lives of our future generation as well.
Fair enough. Talk to us a bit, Dr. Mumtaz, about rumors surrounding the progress on the Pakistan-China economic corridor, and tell us if there's any truth to these rumors that the previous government of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf tried to slow down this project for reasons that remain unknown, and that the existing government has found it hard to go back and gain the same speed with which CPEC was launched. Is there any truth to these rumors?
There might be, but we cannot deny the fact that for more than 2 years, we were in a condition where everything was stopped. Not only in Pakistan, not only in China, but all over the world. We cannot deny what COVID has done with the whole of the world. COVID is one of the factors. The speed has gone slow, and the reason speed has gone slow was because we were very lucky that very less people died because of COVID in Pakistan. But if we talk about China, there were like huge number of deaths. They diverted all their investments, whether it is CPEC, whether it is education, whether it is any other sector in China. They diverted all that investments toward that health issues. That is the reason they built like 2,000 bed hospital in 11 days. The target was 11 days and they completed in 9 days. That was the first COVID hospital being built in China. So once you stop a running project and you don't work on that project for 2 years, again, to restart that, it needs a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of energy. And that was the time, that was the duration of PTI government. Now, talking specifically about the government's intervention, or you can say the previous government and the current government, or the interventions by them, I believe it is a joint project. It is not something by our will only. We cannot say that we want to stop a project and that project will get stopped. Yes, there are some issues. Let's say talking about the NOCs, talking about the permissions that we have to get whenever a Chinese company want to start business in Pakistan. They are 40 to 41 in number. 41 permissions, 41 NOCs to start a project or start a company in Pakistan. When we talk about not the under the table way, a legal way, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. This is one of the reasons we have to work on the other investments that are coming into Pakistan also. And government cannot be blamed only because, as I just said, that it is not a unilateral project. It is a bilateral, in fact, multilateral project. There are other countries involved. There are, I mean, 80 to 85% of the companies of the countries in the world, they are part of the BRI. So almost all the world is part of it. Another example by which I can prove my stance is CPEC consortium of universities. We have made a consortium. My university, where currently I'm working, Comsets University Islamabad, is one of those which hosted the first mechanism conference of CPEC consortium of universities in Pakistan, in Islamabad. And they have started working under that consortium. They have started training the faculty and academics just like 3 months ago. 3 months ago, it was the first batch which went to China. They stayed there for about 12 to 13 days. One of our officers, who was in fact looking after China Studies Center, also when I was deputed in China for an official assignment in 2023 and 24. So at that time, he also was part of that delegation. So that was the first training cohort. So we can understand that CPEC started quite a long time ago, but this is the right time when things can be put into motion. And we cannot deny the time factor. We cannot deny the external factors. COVID is one of the biggest, which I just talked about.
Dr. Mumtaz, it is commonly understood that the CPEC project involves Pakistan accumulating massive loans from China. So talk to us a bit about these conditions and what are the debt implications of the CPEC project for Pakistan in the future.
In fact, I was expecting this question in the first episode, but though late, but still a very relevant discussion, very relevant point, and almost at every platform wherever I used to talk, we get this kind of question. I have a different perspective. Whenever there are debts, whenever there are loans, we do it or we take those loans for development purposes. This CPEC, whatever debts we are accumulating, we have to pay back those debts. But that is again an opportunity cost. If we don't take those debts, if we don't take those loans from the Chinese government, we might not be able to complete those development projects. IMF is one of the examples. We have taken those loans, but again, along with negativity, we have to see that it is for our financial sustainability. If Pakistan cannot sustain financially, we would have declared bankruptcy, we would have declared Diwaliya hona jo hai, we would have declared it before Sri Lanka. So debts definitely are accumulating. We have to pay back those debts, but we have to compare those debts with the development. Those slow, but those developments will work. Going towards the northern part of Pakistan, now you'll see what connectivity means. In big cities, almost 0% load shedding is one of the you can say examples which we can see. Many Chinese companies working in Pakistan in different sectors. Zong is having an established business. Chang'an is having an established business. Changhong Grupa is having a joint venture and having a very good business. BYD has entered into the market. So these are the developments that will show their results in long term. It is not something by which these are not the projects by which we can get the output overnight. Now we are in the second phase. The second phase is about connectivity. Second phase is about people-to-people connectivity. And this is about the social side. This is not about the infrastructure now. So infrastructure projects are in process. There are some delays. Those will get developed. Those will get completed. But now we are moving toward the people-to-people connectivity also. Now you may have seen many people writing good literature related to China. I personally have witnessed 5 or 6 book launches in previous 1 month in Islamabad only. And if we talk about other cities, there might be the same number.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dr. Mumtaz, there's another important question which concerns the environment. Could you please point out for us some of the environmental and social impacts of these various CPEC projects, because they involve massive infrastructure and development, roads, bridges, highways, motorways. They involve a lot of manual labor, they involve heavy machinery. What is the overall environmental impact of these massive projects?
Regarding environmental projects, the first word we get or we have in our minds is the carbon footprint. So those countries which are blaming us for that non-sustainability, or which are blaming us for that environmental impacts, those are the highest in carbon footprint. China itself is having a higher carbon footprint, and it is increasing, though they are trying to shift towards new technology, green technologies also, but still their carbon footprint is increasing. But by 2060, their carbon footprint will be zero. They are working towards it. So while in development phase, while we are having good reserves of coal, those countries that have already used it and moved towards the new technology, they are trying to address, or they are trying to ask us about that environmental factor also. So we are not up to that level. We are not at that technological level where we can stop using that coal, that is one of the cheapest sources present in Pakistan, and shift towards the latest technology. We are not in a position to adopt that technology. I'm talking from a layman perspective. I'm again mentioning that it is not something which is a state version, and though some energy projects, particularly coal-fired power plants, they have raised concerns about the air and water pollution. Again, environmental impact on mining and transporting coal again is one of the factors which we have seen. Waste management is a concern which is always highlighted at various platforms. Then water usage is something. Projects like dams and energy plants, they can affect local water resources. They can lead to concerns about water availability in future for the local community, for the ecosystems. So we have to do some environmental impact assessments. We have to see how we can counter those negativities, how we can see or how we can basically evaluate the potential environmental impacts, and again propose some mitigation strategies, mitigation measures. And these again should be very specific to CPEC projects only. Although we are having problems of pollution as well in Pakistan, but specifically talking about CPEC, then again we should build sustainability standards. We lack these sustainability standards in Pakistan. We should make some efforts to adhere to the international sustainability standards and practices. And it can, for example, the cleaner technology is one of the things which we can do in sustainability. We can minimize the waste. Plastic waste is one of the biggest problems in Pakistan, not only related to CPEC, but generally also. Again, community consultation is something which we can do. We can involve community, we can engage them through consultation, through stakeholder meetings, and they can help us address these social concerns also. Then again, resettlement and compensation plans can be given to the factories, to the businesses that are planning to establish, and they have problems, they have issues from the environmental aspect. Monitoring and compliance definitely is also necessary. Then again, environmental management plans is something which is related to what I said, that when we do environmental impact assessments, then we can also finish up, or we can bring a good environmental management plans also. From the social side, I think the most important thing is the social development programs, or you can say the community engagement is something which is the best solution. Government can help us in this, But again, we have to go to the local communities. We have a good system of local government. So our local government can help us in these matters. We can go toward the district level, we can go toward the community level, and we can involve them in suggesting some good solutions. Uh, Balance development and protection. This is something which is required, I believe.
But Dr. Mumtaz, some of the concerns that you've raised, doesn't it seem that we actually might end up doing more harm to our own environment because of these massive CPEC projects?
I agree there'll be harm in those projects, but again, there are strategies. We have a good piece of land that is not used, not being used, that is far away from the densely populated areas. We can identify those pieces of lands, and we can shift our factories, we can shift our big projects on those locations rather than establishing them in the center of the city. Another important concern, another important issue that can be addressed through this way is that we can involve the community, we can involve the people living around that place, and we can give them some good jobs also. Definitely training is needed. They have to be working according to the standards, according to the project standards, but it is possible. And all those issues that we are facing due to the regional disharmony, I would say, or regional disruption that we are facing, that can also be resolved by this way. So establishing the businesses, establishing those infrastructure projects in those far-flung areas where there is less, those places that are less populated or less dense in population, and involving the communities to work on those projects. Though there are good number of jobs being created, but there is still a good room where more good jobs can be created. So harm, definitely there will be a harm, but we can reduce the impact by one of the strategies that I just talked about. And there are again number of other ways by which we can ensure that these problems can be controlled.
Right. My final question to you for this discussion, Dr. Mumtaz, I'd like to zoom out of CPEC, if you'll allow me, and talk to you and put to you a very general question, but I think it's an important one, which has to do with China's rapid economic progress in the past 50 years. And I want to ask you, how closely is China's rapid progress linked to the fact that China is a dictatorship? In other words, would this rate, this wonderful rate of progress have been possible in a democracy?
If I have understood your question well, you want to say that in future, what chances are there that China would be ruling the world or would be disclosed as a superpower?
No, Dr. Saab, what I meant was a lot of commentators believe that China's rapid progress is linked to the fact that China is a totalitarian government, that it's a communist state, it's an authoritarian dictatorship. So my question is this kind of rapid progress possible only in dictatorships? Or do you think that, you don't have to be an authoritarian society to make progress, the kind of progress that China has made in the past 50 years? It's also possible in democracies.
It is possible in democracies, and you rightly said there is a communist state, but they also pronounced recently in previous around a decade, or you can say more if more specifically we talk for the last about 5 to 6 years, they are talking China as a communist state with Chinese characteristics, communism with Chinese characteristics. This is something which we need to understand. We talked about Xinjiang in the last episode also. So they always put state first. They always put the state objectives first. And if we relate it with the development side, so we have to see their planning system. whether it is President Xi Jinping, whether it is Hu Jintao, whether it is any other leader in the history, the planning process remains the same. They have a 5-year plan. They have an annual revision in those plans. They have mechanisms how the new things can be added into those plans. And it is more of like authoritarian in terms of their policies. And when we see the authoritarian side, we have to understand their planning process also. They do plan it from top to bottom, and again from bottom to top approach. Whatever strategy the top management is making, the top leaders are making in the CPC, the Communist Party of China is being made, they make those documents available to the masses, available to the representatives of every community. Those community members, they put their feedback, they put their comments, they religiously see those policies, and they see how those can be beneficial for my community. Every professor in the university is a member of a CPC. He has responsibility to take care of his peers. Whenever they move toward, because I'm in academics, I'm in research field, that is why I've taken the example of a researcher. Whenever he is moving upward in the hierarchy, he's becoming the dean, he's becoming the president of the university, he gets more importance in that CPC position. And with every university is having a CPC representative, CPC secretary sitting in the universities to make sure whatever planning is being made for, let's say, the education sector or the higher education sector, it is being given or enforced through that CPC member in the university. And whenever the feedback that I talked about, or the issues they highlight, the problems they highlight in those policies, they are again reverted back from that CPC member to the higher positions and up to the maximum, up to the main leadership. And then they decide whether those realistic changes are possible to be made into that policy, into that plan or not. And when I became a part of that policy making, and then the government implements the same policy or changes it according to the situation. And I'm not saying that whatever suggestions are being given in those plans, they are 100% incorporated. Again, there are deliberations on it. The high management will see which plans need to be followed, which plans need to be considered, which plans should be included in the short term, which should be kept in the long term. If I became part of that planning process, I would happily follow that plan. I'll happily follow that policy being implemented in my country. So that gives outer world an impression that they are having an authoritarian government, and they are just forcing everything on their people. There is one small example which is very much relevant with when we compare it with the situation in Pakistan. Every year we ask that we give targets to the FBR. This is your target. You have to you have to ensure the taxpayers should file their taxes. They should report their taxes. But on the other side, in China, they have made it in such a way that you cannot hide your income. The app-based payments, the digital payments, the banking systems are interconnected in such a way that you cannot do some tax evasions. You cannot do some negative. You cannot take some negative steps to steal taxes. So that is one of the ways. Talking about Pakistan, we have a very good, well-established, appreciated all over the world Nadra system. We have good banking systems. We have machine-readable passports. It is only a problem, as per my understanding, to connect those systems in such a way that our financial inclusion increases. People who are living in far-flung areas, they are using Easy Paisa, they are using Jazz Cash to send their payments to to their relatives or to their families at their hometowns, at their villages. So they are already in the system. You just have to make it a mechanism, make such a mechanism in which you don't have to force people to use it. You don't leave an option for them to go for something which is illegal, something that is unlawful. Even when you are going on a small tuck shop in China and you want to buy a glass of water or a bottle of water, you can pay through the QR code. And we still we even haven't used plastic money well. We are still not using credit cards or debit cards frequently. We deal in cash. So we have to update ourselves also.
Fair enough. I'll have to call it a day at that. Dr. Tahir Mumtaz, thank you very much for joining this episode of Reality Bites.